Hi, this is Adam Sutton from Sutton Business Velocity. I'd like to point you to my website, suttonbusinessvelocity.com, where you can learn more about the services my firm offers in support of your total reward strategy. And also like to point you to my YouTube channel, Total Rewards Expert Adam Sutton, where you'll find Series 1 and Series 2 have been fully posted there. We are in Series 3 now. This is part 2 of Series 3. And in part 1 of Series 3, I went ahead and gave you a little bit of a synopsis of what it is we were trying to accomplish in both Series 1 and 2 by getting to learn how the AI engines will develop a total rewards persona with a background similar to mine, but really with the intent of understanding how it's going to react to certain situations. If you remember, the test we're doing here is to try to understand more so about how AI works in a 2 and 3 dimensional world. I think 3 dimensional chips and so forth are coming along the way. I don't know if you get nerdy and read about these things, but um, I don't know about the fourth dimension. And that fourth dimension is creating context and building that infrastructure of knowledge and then seeing how that infrastructure of knowledge is going to get applied. So when I say that a persona has 25 years of experience in the total reward space, what does that really mean to AI, and how is it going to create um, a recommendation or a solution to an issue with that information in mind? So anyway, I think it's an important thing. And, as we dove into series 3, what we wanted to do is we dove into, I think we started with Claude, and the intent here was to create a persona within Claude, which we've done. In fact, I've done it in ChatGPT. You could see it here. And then I have also done it here in Google Gemini, and I've also done it here in Copilot. So it's all done set up in the 4 different places. And what we're going to do now is we're going to actually grab this blog and we're going to learn a little bit about a scenario, plug the scenario into our AI persona. Let's see what it says. So here we go. The company, the context, I did promise AI was going to provide at least 4 basic pieces of information so that it has something to work with. I'm calling a 2,500 employee company mid-sized. It's just because of, I've worked at massive companies, I worked at small companies. This fits in the middle. Domestic technology company working with a bank to go public. So somewhere in this series process, looking to get funding. Maybe they've already gotten through the funding process and they're working with the bank on the funding. I don't know, somewhere along the lines, but they definitely do want to go public. I'm seeing technology development jobs with employees eager to earn. So it's 8:15 in the morning, and this total rewards professional with 5 years of experience is reviewing email when a message from his manager from last night catches its eye. It's a forward from the chief technology officer who writes, "We lost another senior DevOps engineer to a competitor paying 15% more base and throwing in sign on equity. We need market adjustments fast." The CEO follows up, "We can't lose momentum. Fix this today." So my manager got this message. My manager forwards it to me. Doesn't really say anything, just sends it to me. I'm a total rewards manager with about 5 years of experience. What I know is that engineering roles were priced 9 months ago using a blended survey composite. The market has since jumped. Internal comp ratio shows compression between senior and principal levels. Promotions were granted liberally to retain talent, inflating titles without structural recalibration. Meanwhile, finance sends a spreadsheet showing compensation already exceeds the approved payroll budget by 4%. So let's talk about this for a minute while I copy it over. So this scenario is probably something every one of us in rewards have seen at some point in our past. And what it's trying to get at is a situation where, without a whole lot of information, your manager just sends to you an email that says, "Fix this comp problem," right? So the easy thing to do for any person in a comp space with maybe 5 years of experience is They just look at the market range that's available from the company, probably their manager or somebody else developed it, and then see where they are within that range. Maybe take a look at some other people in the organization with similar titles, just like a basic analysis. And that might be a quick way to solve the problem. But there's a whole lot of process that needs to go on that's quite a bit more involved. And I think what I'm looking to see is how it is that these AI tools are going to start to figure out what to do. And again, I'm using the word tool because I think it's still not a productivity enhancer for me. Immediate situation assessment. All right, deep breath. This is a pre IPO pressure cooker with competing forces. Let me break down what I'm actually dealing with. The real problem, this isn't just about one DevOps engineer. We have structural compensation degradation across the tech organization. We've been using title inflation as a retention band-aid. We're 9 months out of market and a hot tech labor segment during IPO prep. We're already over budget, so throw money at it isn't the answer. Good assessment. I think we've covered that anyway, even in our sort of pre-assessment process. IPO timeline is a constraint, budget reality, internal equity, and speed demand. Why would the IPO? So, would they need to be defensible to underwriters and future shareholders? Yes, we have to disclose it, but it doesn't take us out of our normal operating cadence. So if the company has a normal operating cadence of we need to do a review on these employees, pay us out, and that's defensible, I think that that's okay. Will the company that's buying or funding or underwriting our company liking it? Probably not. So you would recommend not doing it, but I think yes, there's probably a point in time where you couldn't do it any further. So it is a relative thing that we need to keep in mind. Speed demand. I think that probably links closely with this IPO. The budget reality and internal equity, they're going to kind of run hand in hand. All right. So immediate response. So email to my manager. Interesting. Acknowledged. Running targeted market analysis on business critical tech roles this morning. We'll have preliminary findings and phased approach to you by 2 p.m. for executive discussion. This requires surgical precision, not broad interest increases. Here's why. Okay, why this response demonstrates urgency, sets realistic timelines, signals I understand it isn't a simple raise everyone situation. Okay. Are you liking where this is going? I am really interested to know what it's going to do. Um, Pull fresh market data. I like how it gives the plug to probably companies that are investing in the AI tools. Anyway, okay, identify the true critical roles. Interesting how it does this. Great job. I really like this part of it. Um, Such a massive overlook into especially today versus maybe how it was 20 years ago. Sit down and have a conversation with the people who are impacted by what these decisions are going to and that what's going to happen as a result of these decisions. The managers are the ones that are going to have to speak to these employees. It's super critical to understand what it is that these managers are expecting, how they're expecting it, what the reaction is expected to be. And this way, it's not because we are telling the manager to tell us what to do. It's the manager is creating some context for a recommendation. So we can include some variables that maybe right now I don't know the answer to, but that manager, that insight can clue me in to those variables. So now I can model out those variables and understand more clearly what the impact is going to be. I really like the way it started um, to do this. DevOps is clearly one, but what else? Get names. Are there people interviewing? Okay, this. I don't know if I agree with this part of it. Um, I have a basic assumption that all employees are interviewing and they interview in relative amounts of investment. Putting it out there and just leaving it out and seeing if a bite comes on my line and calls me up, that's a very passive approach to doing it. But then there are the active levels, and there's really no way to go and ask an employee, are you interviewing? Yes, you could. Is it appropriate? Are they going to answer you honestly? Can you expect an honest answer? I don't know. I don't know if I'd go with the question of are you interviewing and so forth. Compa ratios, I agree. Compression analysis, time and role, performance distribution, absolutely. I think this plays a critical role. I think there's a miss. I think there's a miss. Where does this particular employee fit within the competency development process? Because, we don't really understand why employees are leaving. I think there's a big miss here. Competency development underpins how job architecture is built. And if you understand the competency layers that make up each of the levels underpinning your job architecture, you can then come back and say, well, look, take a look at this employee. This employee sits at the top of the competency mark for their particular level, and they're paid X. There are others that are lower in the competency level of the same, or the competencies of the same level, and therefore they should be paid different. There should be a range of pay. And is that range of pay appropriate between those that aren't sitting at the same competency level, maybe as the one we're talking about? If this person maybe is sitting at a lower competency level and their salary is reflected of it, and maybe they're angry because some of those higher competency level employees within the same level, both are senior DevOps, right? They're in the same level, but they're paid more at their level because they've developed further and they've sort of moved and evolved through the compensation range. Well, that's a difference. And if you can point that out and have that conversation and have them understand how there's a progression within a range and that you're willing to work with them to develop on those competencies, to move them and evolve them through the range, that becomes a palatable conversation to have with employees as well. And that's information you're going to you're going to have with the manager. You're going to have that information with the the human resources partner, and certainly the rewards partner for that business as well probably knows a little bit about it. So really terrific. I like this a lot. They created a recommendation. You see it here. We're going to talk through this one. I've already gone 12 minutes into this. I think this is super great. I'm really liking this a lot. Part three, we're going to learn a little bit more about what the recommendation is. This is tier one, tier two. I really like this a lot. I want to see what Claude has to say, and let's have an interactive discussion about it. I think this is going really well. Thank you for joining. I can't wait until I get you back in part three coming soon. See you soon. Thank you.